Hello and welcome back, and in this video we are going to be talking about stepper control and how we can use a stepper to basically trigger an animation. So a stepper is a control that performs increment or decrement actions. We can use this control to increase and decrease the number of elements on the screen, and we can also animate while the numbers are changing. Let's go ahead and take a look at an example. So we're going to create a state variable, and this is going to hold number of bubbles on the screen. We're going to initialize this value with a number 20, meaning 20 bubbles are basically going to render on the screen when we actually create this view. Let's go ahead and put a ZStack. And inside the ZStack, first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a stepper control. Stepper control takes a label, value, and you can define a range how stepper should increment. So I'm going to say add bubble for the label. The value for this guy is going to be bound to the bubbles variable. And we're going to control these steps by putting a close range, and we're going to say our stepper can go at a minimum 20 bubbles or at max 100 bubbles on the screen at one time. Okay, let's go ahead and add a padding, and as you can see we have a bubble showing up here, and we can increase and we can decrease, and as soon as it reaches the minimum value it basically disables the decrement button. Okay, let's go ahead and continue. We're going to add a ZStack, and inside this ZStack we're going to create circles that are going to form a sort of a look and feel of a bubble. So we're going to use gradient for that purpose. So let's go ahead and put a for each, and we're going to create elements 0 up until the count of bubble. Now each of these elements are going to be identified by ID, self. Okay, so ID self means this particular variable which we are iterating over, in this case is an integer. It's a hashable and identifiable, and it can be basically a unique hash value can be created for this guy. So each element can be identified uniquely, meaning we can iterate over them using for each. Now in the for each closure, trailing closure, we get an index. So we're gonna simply store that index, and we may use it if we need to. Let's go ahead and draw a circle inside the ZStack, and as soon as we draw a circle you're gonna see 20 circles, but you're only seeing one at this point. Reason is all the circles are stacked on the top of each other. That's a property of ZStack. That's how ZStack stacks its child views, basically stacking them on the top of each other. So we can distinguish them, but before that, let's go ahead and add some more modifiers to change some of the styling. So we're going to use a foreground style modifier, and we're going to generate a random color. So we're going to say for red, green, and blue, we're going to have a random color generated ranging from 0.0 to 1.0. Okay, I'm going to copy this random and paste it for green and blue colors. Okay, so basically now all of our bubbles are of different colors. Okay, let's go ahead and add a gradient to this guy, and we have sort of like a sphere looking circle. Okay, so that's what that's gonna give it make our view look like a bubble. Let's go ahead and define the opacity as well, but before the opacity let's go ahead and give it this a frame, and we're gonna randomize that frame value as well. Now in case of circle you only need to give one value, either width or height, in order for circle to take that shape or that frame. So we're going to say the value is going to come from a random count, and we're going to randomize this with the size 0 to 100. Let's go ahead and give this 2. So basically make it at least the smallest can be 0 and the biggest can be 100. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to set the opacity, and we're going to randomize the opacity as well, but we're going to range it from 0.0 to 0.5. So, or actually let's do 0.1 to 0.5. There we go. Okay, so this is almost looking like a target. Okay, and we are going to change now all the overlapping circles by putting a position, and we're going to even randomize the position as well. So let's go ahead and put the position for X and Y, and for both X and Y value I'm going to use a random position, and we're going to go from 0 to 300 for X position and 0 to 600 for Y. Okay, excuse me. So our bubbles are now randomly distributed onto the screen. Now comes the animation part, and we can say that we want to add animation, and we want to add a spring animation onto this with a damping fraction value of 0.2. The value that we're going to observe for the change is going to be bubbles, and since this is a property that can be animated because stepper is actually increasing it, we actually get the animation free of cost. So basically this is all we need to do in order to create this effect, and let me show you how this looks like. So as you're increasing, a new bubble is adding, but because of the randomness of the positions, the bubbles are changing their position, and they're not only changing their position, they're also changing their color, their opacity, and number is obviously going up. So you can see this is a pretty cool effect. Now you can actually eliminate the stepper part. I included the stepper just to show you that increasing or decreasing the count actually is an animation trigger. You can basically just remove the stepper and use this as an animation in your view with these random numbers getting generated every second, every 2 seconds or whatever. Okay, this is just an example. I just wanted to show you how you can basically create this cool animation and learn about the animation trigger that can be triggered using stepper control. All right, with that, we have reached the end of this video. Thank you once again for watching.